Good day, everyone. Welcome to another video for Certified Math Majors channel. Now, in this video, we will be learning about how to divide numbers using the method which is called plotting the dots. So, this is a shortcut technique for division, and this does away with the usual long division method that we have been using conventionally. So, by the term plotting the dots, we have to make use of dots in using the method. But in order for us to illustrate how to exactly use the plotting the dots, let's have the first example. So the first example is you have 156 divided by 12. Now remember, in a division statement, there are two parts. You have the dividend and you have the divisor. Now the dividend is the number that is placed before the division symbol. In this case, that's your 156. And the divisor is the number that is after the division symbol. In this example, you have the 12. Now, it is very, very important to remember which is your dividend, which is your divisor, because in the method of plotting the dots, the dividend and the divisor plays different roles. Now, again, in this example, the dividend is 156. Now, the role of the dividend is to illustrate how many dots do we need in order to start with our division process. Now, if we look at the dividend again, which is 156, notice that it has 3 digits. So with to start with the division using the method of plotting the dots, we have to divide the numbers, I mean the digits, into columns. So you separate the digits of your dividend into columns. So you have the leftmost column for the hundredths digit, which is 1, the middle column for the tens, the rightmost column or the last column for your ones. Now, to use the uh, plotting the dots method again, the divisor always shows or represents the number of dots that you're going to use in your division process. Now, the reason why we divided this into columns is that we are going to represent each column by the number of dots that corresponds to the number shown in each column. So for the first column, the number that shows is 1, therefore we have 1 dot there. The next column is 5, so we have 5 dots. 3, 4, 5. The third column you have 6, so this will be 6 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 dots. Now, after you have illustrated or represented each of the numbers in the column as dots, you have to look at now your divisor. Your divisor is 12. This would tell you the pattern for your connection, because when you say plot the dots, you need to connect. Now, you just cannot connect anywhere you like. You have to follow a certain pattern, and that pattern is displayed in the divisor. So if you're going to divide the divisor into columns, notice that there will be 2 columns also. The leftmost column is the 1, the rightmost column is the 2. But we don't draw dots in this column because the divisor here, which is 12, only tells you the pattern of the pairing of your dots. So if what this tells you is that on the left column, you only have 1 dot, which will be connected to 2 dots on your right column because the number in your right column is 2. So that's what we're going to follow here. Since your pattern tells you that from the left, you only choose 1 dot, which is your leftmost. So this is your leftmost, so you start with 1 dot. you pair it to two dots on the right. So you have these two dots. So we can have it one dot here and then two dots there. Now, since all the dots here has been connected, you move this one here, follow the same pattern, one dot here and two dots on the next column. So basically you have that one. Same thing here, you have this, that one, you have one dot here and then another dot there. So all the dots have been connected. That means our division is done. Since we no longer have dots that we need to connect, that indicates that again we are finished. So we just need to find the quotient. Now the next question is, how do you find the quotient? To find the quotient, you simply look at the connections that you have formed from the leftmost part, and you count how many connections have started in that particular column that indicates the digit of your quotient. So we start with the leftmost. Again, we count how many connections have been started in the leftmost column, which is here at the one column. Notice that this is the only connection that started at the one column, this one. So it started at the one column. No other connections started from the one column, but only this. Therefore, you only have one here. So that is now the first digit of your quotient. To find the next digit of your quotient, go to the next column and again count how many connections have been started. So next column after 1 is 5. So look at the 5 column and see how many connections have been started there. Now, this connection, remember, comes from this connection. And remember, we have already counted this here. So we will no longer count this. Instead, we go to this one because, again, we only count the number of connections that has been started. Obviously, these three connections, this one, and this, because we are connecting from left to right, obviously this connection starts at the 5. So at the 5 column, you have 1, 2, 3 connections. Therefore, the answer there is 3. And finally, on the last column, no connections was formed or no connections was started at the 6th column, so you don't have to write anything here. Therefore, 156 divided by 12 simply gives you 13, because that is the digits that you are able to get after establishing the connections in each column. So that's the answer to the first example, 156 divided by 12, that gives you 13. Let us now proceed to our second example. That's 441 divided by 21. So you divide each column or each digit into columns, this one, and again, your divisor will serve as the pattern of the connections of your dots. First column is 4, so there will be 4 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4. Second column, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have 1 here. Now, pattern is 21. That means from the rightmost column, from the leftmost column, you choose 2 dots. There, connect it to 1 dot. Next, another 2 dots, connect it to 1 dot. So all the dots in the 4 column has been connected. Go to the next dot. Go to the next column, 2 dots, connect to 1 dot. All the dots have been connected, so our division is done. This time we need to identify the digits of our quotient. And to identify that, again, we need to look at how many connections have been formed in each of the column. So in the leftmost column, you have started two connections. This one and then two. So two connections started at this column, so therefore that's two. Next column, you cannot count this because this connection started here. And we have already counted that one here. So the only connection that started in the second column is this one. And there's only one connection. So that's one. Now in the last column, we did not start any connections here because this connection started here. And we have already counted it. So no connections here. We don't have to write anything. So therefore, 441 divided by 21, that gives you 21. So you can check this using calculator or by using long division. You will find out that it will still give you the same answer just like as what we have here. So this division technique actually works. It does away with the long process of dividing numbers. Next, third example, you have 1,232 divided by 11. The same process, divide this into columns. And this is your pattern, 1, 1. So, 1 dot from the left, connect it to 1 dot to the right. Okay, but represent the numbers in each column by dots. First, you have 1, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There. So, again, the pattern, 1 dot from the left, connect to 1 dot to the right. So 1 dot to the left, connect it to 1 dot to the right. 1 dot to the left, connect it to 1 dot to the right. 1 dot from the left, connect it to 1 dot to the right. 1 dot from the left, 1 dot from the right. All the dots have been connected. We are done. Now, to find the quotient, we have to count how many connections have been started in each column. In this column here, one connection has been started, so we have 1. In this column here, one connection has been started, this one, because this connection belongs here. We have already counted it. So you only have this one for this column. So you have 1. Next column, you cannot count this because this connection comes from here. We have already counted it here. So you only have this connection and this connection. So you have 2. And finally, on the last column, we don't have any connection. So you don't write anything here. So this is now the digits of your quotient. You have 1,232 divided by 11. That gives you 112. Next, fourth example, you have 4,473 divided by 21. So divide this into column, that one, and then represent each digit by dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just try to make the dot a little bigger. Then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for this one here. And then you have 1, 2, 3. Then pattern is 21. So you have two dots from the left, connect it to 1 dot from the right. So 2 dots from the left, 1 dot to the right. 2 dots from the left, 1 dot to the right. 2 dots from the left, 1 dot to the right. 2 dots from the left, 1 dot to the right. 2 dots from the left, connect it to 1 dot to the right. 2 dots from the left, connect it to 1 dot to the right. So we're done because all the dots have been connected. So we count the number of connections started in every column. In order for us to find each of the digits of the quotient, you have 1 connection, two connections. This is 2. Next column, do not count this because this started here. Also, do not count this connection because it started here. So you only have one connection, so you have 1. Next, do not count this connection because it started here and we have already counted that one here. So you have to start here. 1 connection started, 2 connections started, and you have 3 connections started. So this is 3. And then you don't have any connections here. So you do not write anything. Therefore, 4,473 divided by 21 is just equals to 213. Next, let's go to the fifth example. You have 930. So the same thing we did. Divide this into columns and represent each number in the column by that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3, 1, 2, 3, 0. So no dots here because that's 0. So only this one. Now the pattern is 3, 0. That means you have to connect 3 dots from the left but nothing on the right. So this is your only pattern. Next, another 3 dots there and nothing on the left. Next, you have another 3 dots, nothing on the left. All the dots have been connected here. Next, 3 dots here, nothing on the left. So all the dots have been connected. We'll get now the quotient. So count how many connections. You have 1 connection, 2 connections, 3 connections. So in this part here, you have 3 connections. Next, you have 1 connection. And then in this part, you don't have any connection here, so you do not write anything. So that means 930 divided by 30 is equals to 31. Next, let's have number 6. 122 divided by 11. Let's have the columns first. Then 1 dot, 2 dots, 2 dots. Pattern is 11, so we have 1, 1, 1 dot from the left, 1 dot to the right, 1 dot from the left, and connect it to 1 dot to the right. Now notice that you have 1 dot that remains unconnected. And this dot is found at the last column. Now, when you have dots at the last column that is unconnected, that dot would actually represent your remainder. So basically, this dot, since it's found at the last column or at the rightmost column and it remains unconnected, that is now your remainder. So that means in this division problem, you have a remainder of 1. Now all we need to do is to find out the digits of your quotient. So the same thing that we did earlier, we need just to find out how many connections has been started in each column. Now for the first column, we only have 1 connection, so this is going to be 1. Next, on the second column, you only have 1 connection that has been started, so that is again 1. So here, no connection has been started, so leave it, so you don't have to write anything here, but 1 dot remains unconnected, that is your remainder. Therefore, the answer to this division problem is just 11 remainder 1. Next, for our last example, we have 1,695 divided by 12. So divide this into columns. That one. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then pattern is 12. So one dot from the left, connect it to two dots to the right. One dot from the left, connect the two dots to the right. One dot from the left, connect it to two dots to the right. One dot from the left, two dots to the right. One dot from the left, two dots from the right. Next, all the dots here has been connected. Go to the next column, follow the same pattern. One dot from the left, connect it to two dots to the right. Now, all the dots have been connected. Now notice that you are already at the last column. So basically, all the dots that remains unconnected here can no longer be connected using the pattern because you're already at the last column. So these three dots that are left unconnected will be your remainder. So these three dots here is your remainder. And to get the quotient, same thing that we did in our previous examples. Count how many connections have been started in each column. In this column here, you have one connection. In this column, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 connections. In this column, you only have one connection because these connections started here. So the only connection that started in this column is this one here going there. So you only have one. Now, no connection has been started here. Do not write anything. So therefore, your answer here is 141 remainder 3 because of the three dots that has been unconnected. Now, when you check using your long division, this is going to be the answer that will come out. So basically, this division process works even if for numbers with remainders. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please click and subscribe to our channel for you to get updated on our next videos. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy learning.